when you look at light, you have to understand how it actually exists in its natural form and how certain forms of light therapy can actually help. So what is the problem with the blue light in the first place? When you have blue light, it basically blocks or reduces the production of melatonin. And melatonin is a hormone that helps you get into sleep. So essentially, the higher your melatonin levels, the more sleepy you get, and then you slowly go into your sleep cycles. Now, when you have blue light, because it blocks this, you might feel that even though you're really tired, you can't actually get back to sleep. And so herein comes the savior, which is essentially red light. And as I mentioned earlier, red light has a high frequency and it mimics sunlight. So therefore, when you get red light, maybe even an hour before you sleep, you'll find that this essentially promotes melatonin production and you gradually get sleepy and you go into deep sleep. But some of the specific benefits when it comes to red light was wound healing. Then you got collagen production, you got a reduction in inflammation. And for people who've had acne scarring, there is a lot of promotion of repair and regeneration with the red light, which essentially helps to reduce or promote the healing of these areas. Before you do anything to try to promote your sleep, you need to work on the basics, and then adding some of the adjuncts, I would say, like red light therapy, may be something that could help you. Welcome back. I'm your host, Doctor Gan, and today I'm going to break down whether you should be going out now and grabbing some red light therapy for your face or for your sleep specifically. Now, the reason I chose this topic is because there has been a lot of questions around red light therapy and also a lot in the media about how it can change your life, and I decided to break it down today to see whether should you be spending your hard-earned cash to buy red light therapy, especially ones that you can use at home. So I thought in order to begin this episode, it's important to look at the basics because everyone is grabbing anything they can see on the internet when it pops up in their face because they think it's going to create an outcome that they want. For some people, it could be skin improvement, and for others, it could be sleep improvement. But I thought, let's look at the basics. Essentially, when you look at light, you have to understand how it actually exists in its natural form and how certain forms of light therapy can actually help. So when you look at light, you have your visible light that you can see, and this includes your red light, it includes your violet light, blue light, green light, yellow, and even orange light. And then you have the light that you can't see, or the non-visible light, and this includes your ultraviolet, which has essentially got a bad name because of the fact that with overexposure, you can get skin cancers and sun damage. And you have your infrared. When you think of infrared, you think of heat on your body. So basically, when you're looking at light, they essentially emit electromagnetic spectrum, which essentially involves wavelengths and energy. But to not get into the nitty-gritty details, these different wavelengths is how the light is essentially broken down. And therefore, if you think of some wavelengths like red light, which has a very high wavelength and can mimic sunlight in its natural form. So when you look at light, and as a divided into sort of visible and your non-visible light, what are the light forms that are actually not good for you? Now, the biggest thing that comes to mind is blue light. Now, blue light is emitted from your phones, from your iPad, your computer screens, your televisions, even from lights above you when you're at work, and even the fluorescent lights as well. And so blue light is really the light you're trying to avoid. Now, green light can create a similar effect, but not to the extent of blue light. So what is the problem with the blue light in the first place? So essentially, when you have blue light, it basically blocks or reduces the production of melatonin. And melatonin is a hormone that helps you get into or get to sleep. So essentially, the higher your melatonin levels, the more sleepy you get, and then you slowly go into your sleep cycles. Now, when you have blue light, because it blocks this, you might feel that even though you're really tired, you can't actually get back to sleep. And so herein comes the savior, which is essentially red light. And as I mentioned earlier, red light has a high frequency and it mimics sunlight. So therefore, when you get red light, maybe even an hour before you sleep, you'll find that this essentially promotes melatonin production and you gradually get sleepy and you go into deep sleep. Now that we know about red light and blue light, how does light therapy actually work? Now, light therapy has been around for many years. In the 1900s, they used ultraviolet therapy, essentially in medicine to help with skin tuberculosis. And NASA also did studies on light therapy, initially finding that they thought that it caused skin cancer, but later then realizing that it doesn't cause skin cancer and as a side effect actually has a lot of skin benefits. And some of them include wound healing and hair growth. And they found that there was a lot of benefits by using light therapy. And over time, essentially, they have created more forms of light therapy in terms of energy devices that are used in medicine or in many clinics all around the world. The reality is, the biggest thing that caught up, especially when it came to light therapy, was the anti-aging arena. So they found that by using this light therapy, a lot of people got these benefits from their skin. They had less wrinkles, they had increased collagen production, and collagen essentially gives you that plumpiness of the skin. And as we age, unfortunately, we lose a lot of collagen, therefore giving that wrinkly effect that we can get on the skin. And they also use it for sort of fat reduction as well. So there were a lot of benefits when it came to the skin in terms of anti-aging. But some of the specific benefits when it comes to red light, as I mentioned earlier, was wound healing. And essentially how it works is that we have these energy cells that create ATP, or it's a form of energy within our cells. And this can basically promote healing and regeneration. Then you have hair growth, which it has been studied for a long time. And they found that by using red light on certain areas, you will find a promotion of hair growth in these areas. Now, I'm not saying that by just sticking an LED on your head, which some people do sell devices like this, it's immediately gonna get a lot of hair. And especially for me, where I've got a shaved head, I don't think I am going to grow a lot of hair and end up looking like Chewbacca. Then you got collagen production. And again, as I mentioned with collagen production, it's the plumpiness of the skin. You got a reduction in inflammation. And for people who've had acne, and especially acne scarring, there is a lot of promotion of repair and regeneration with the red light, which essentially helps to reduce or promote the healing of these areas. Then let's come down to sleep, which is another big factor, and especially one that I wanted to focus on in this video. Now, we know that red light can help in sleep, but the way it helps is similar to what I mentioned earlier. When blue light basically blocks your melatonin production, red light helps by promoting your melatonin production. Therefore, you get a lot sleepier and then you slowly doze into or go into sleep. So by using red light, you can promote sleep and get a better sleep. And there have been some studies out there to actually show this, that it actually works. So if you decided today to go out and buy yourself some red light therapy, either devices such as strips or something that you can put on your face, how would you go about doing it? The first thing I would say is that if you decided to do it, you need to do it for 10 to 20 minutes, about an hour before you go to sleep. Now, you have to be disciplined enough to do this, because sometimes if you put the red light therapy just directly on your face, it can almost promote you to be a little bit more stimulated, and therefore you actually need that time for your melatonin production to kick in before you get drowsy and you get sleepy. Now, with that being said, if you have red light therapy on, but you're watching TV or you're on your screens with a lot of blue light, it basically neutralizes the effect. So it's kind of pointless, especially if you're aiming for something like getting better sleep. And then you have something simple like changing your light bulbs. And essentially what I mean by that is that you can have in your bedroom, maybe a certain corner of your bedroom, whereby you can get some of these Philip light bulbs, or any light bulb that has sort of a Wi-Fi input whereby you can control it through your Amazon system or even through your Google system, essentially turning on at a certain time. And I find that these actually help quite a lot. And the reason I think it helps a lot is because it almost sends a signal to your brain that it's time to sleep. And it becomes habitual the moment you see that red light, especially in your bedroom. So you know it's time to get you to sleep. And no matter what you're doing, if you see the red light, you know that, it's time to go to bed. So getting these little dimmer light bulbs is an easy way to do it, and it doesn't really cost quite a lot. So if you wanted to start off with, rather than just getting LED strips put on your face, you could pretty much do this in a very affordable way by getting these light bulbs. Now, the big question here is, should you buy one? Now, if you've listened to anything that I've spoken about in all my previous episodes, I'm always about keeping it simple and starting with the basics. So I would say that the simple answer is no, you do not need one. Because I have found that for a lot of people who have these LED lights that they're using to get to sleep, they are highly stressed. They drink quite a lot of alcohol. They eat before they go to bed. They're potentially staying up really late, and they're not really getting into their rhythm of getting back into sleep. And so I really believe that before you do anything to try to promote your sleep, you need to work on the basics and ensure that you're just doing the basic care that you need to get to sleep, and then adding some of the adjuncts, I would say, like red light therapy, may be something that could help you. Next, if you're kind of doing it for your skin, there's a lot of benefits here. I definitely think it would help. It's not a bad thing to do. And there's a lot of studies showing that it does help. So you don't really have to go into a clinic to get it done. You can buy some devices that you can put on your face. I actually saw this where someone was putting this device on their face, and I think it was on a blog that I read, or it was a video that I saw where they were putting this device in the face, talking about getting better sleep when they were just watching TV while they had the device on the face. So essentially, if you're doing it for the skin, then you're not going to do it for your sleep, because it has little holes in your face and it allows you to be awake and do other things, but you look a little bit weird. And if you had kids, they'd probably be a bit scared with this mask of yours walking around the house. But if you're doing it for your skin, it does help. But again, keep to the basics. Take care of your skin, avoid excessive sun exposure, hydrate your skin. You can use some basic skin products and they would help significantly. And that's probably where I will start at. Now, in terms of getting a product, there are a lot of options out there, from really cheap, which I probably will avoid. And they can go from anywhere to a decent product, anywhere between $300 up to $2,000. Now, I'm not saying you need to go and get a $2,000 product. I don't think you need that. But I would actually aim for certain products based on some of these criterias. The first thing I would aim for is that it is you're able to charge it easily, and some of them sort of have a Wi-Fi or Bluetooth option. And in terms of how they operate, that might be something good to think about. It has to be light and it has to be comfortable on your face, because a lot of times, because it's putting pressure and you're strapping it on your face, if you're putting too much pressure around your ears, around the back of your head, you may end up getting a headache, and it can cause a lot of problems. And another very important bit is that it has to be easy to clean and pretty durable. Now, all those factors are very important, but you will read lots of reviews out there, people raving about some and some saying it's not so good. So do your research and look at the pointers I've just put out there. I've left some options down in the video below, so have a look at that. Now, as I said, you don't have to get any of this. You can start with the basics, but if you feel you've already done the basics and you're looking to get that peak productivity in terms of getting that best sleep that you can get, and you want to push it a little bit further, then this could be an option. Until I see you the next time, if you enjoyed this video or you know someone who essentially will love hearing about red light therapy, please share it with them. And don't forget to subscribe on Spotify, Apple, and even on YouTube. And until next time, I'll catch you in the next video.